Welcome back to another episode of Had to Be There. There's a throwback episode, or as we like to call them, Time Capsule Thursdays, because we're silly like that. This episode, like all episodes, is brought to you by our media partner in crime, Furry Turkey. Check out furryturkey.com for all the Had to Be There merch and more information on what the heck a furry turkey might be. This episode is also brought to you by Board at Work. Check out boardatwork.shop for a bunch of skateboard-inspired clothing, inspired by our favorite skateboard tricks. You'll look great out there this summer, shredding the gnar in some fun t-shirts and hoodies at boardatwork.shop. This episode is also brought to you by the Candy Collection, Daddy Dirt's tattoo-inspired clothing line with the summer tee out there. It's a tie-dye tee with fun sugar skull that's tattoo inspired. I think Daddy Dirt might even have one of those on his butt cheeks. Not sure. That might be a secret. Don't tell anyone I told you that. But anyway, hope you enjoy this episode. Let's get started.
Shut up and sit down.
Daddy Dirt and Mommy Mike present Had to Be There podcast.
Like Diaz, Masvidal. Conor tweeted out, "When's the interim BMF title again?" Like he's like, "Oh, I'm the baddest motherfucker in the game. When there's the interim belt?" I don't think it is. I think Masvidal and Diaz deserve this.
So do I, 100%. That's why they're making a $50,000 belt.
And I think Conor knows too. He's probably going to end up fighting the winner of that belt because Masvidal's called him out.
At what weight? I think
it won't be at 155. I think Masvidal can't cut to 155.
65 at like a catch weight.
Maybe we just want in the 170 division because Dana doesn't want to do a 165 division. For whatever reason.
Which is so dumb.
You could make so many good fights because Khabib could go up a little bit. Yep. People could go down a little bit. Like if you create a 165-pound division, you get Askren Khabib immediately.
Because Khabib cuts a shit ton of weight.
Yeah.
A shit ton.
But that's what pisses me off. Khabib doesn't want to do 165. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to do 170. He wants to dominate. Which fine, that's great.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can be considered the GOAT, the greatest of all time, if you're not willing to go to other weight classes. Everyone else, DC, Conor, Amanda Nunes, Holly Holm, Henry Cejudo, John Jones is talking about going up to heavyweight. Everyone's doing proving themselves at different weight classes. That's how you become the greatest of all time.
Yeah. I think so if you have to make an argument, if Cejudo keeps going, pound for pound best of all time, him or John Jones?
John Jones.
Pound for pound best of all time?
Yeah. Cejudo's got to defend his stuff a little bit more, I think.
Yeah.
He's got to defend.
He's got to be more active.
He's got to defend the 135 or the 125-pound belt, and ideally, I think he's got to defend both of them. That's one thing. Amanda Nunes, I think, is the greatest of all time right now.
Yeah. Because
she went up in weight, she beat Cyborg, and she defended that belt already.
Yep.
And now she's going to go back down to 135 and defend that belt.
Which is a lot of movement.
Yeah. And Cejudo is going to be similar, but it's hard because at the end of the day, John Jones is going to fuck Cejudo because they're so different.
Yeah.
It's hard to compare. You almost have to go division by division. You can't compare John Jones and Cejudo. Yeah. If Cejudo keeps defending and John Jones keeps defending and goes up and takes on some heavyweights and beats them, I think you could argue it till you're blue in the face.
Yeah.
But they're both one of the greats.
Yeah.
If they're able to do that.
Yeah. I think you're right too, because I think the weights that Cejudo fights at are very limited in terms of who he can fight.
Yeah.
Versus where John Jones, those are stacked.
And I think, in all honesty, I think I don't like Dillashaw. I know you don't like Dillashaw. I think he obviously has cheated in the past. There's rumors that he's cheated more. But at the end of the day, I think Cejudo's got it at 135 the guy that he beat at 135 he was kind of there because Cody and TJ weren't. You know, I think Cejudo's got to beat TJ at 135. I think he's got to beat Cody at 135. I would love to see him fight Dominic Cruz at 135. He's got to take out. He's got to take out some of those top guys. He didn't take out the top guy at 135. There's a vacant belt because TJ was suspended. Cody had lost to TJ. So you're fighting and Dominic Cruz is out on injury. So you're those are the top 3 guys of that division.
But you're TJ at what?
At 125.
Yeah.
But TJ was cutting down so much, and that's why he needed the EPO. Not giving TJ excuse here, but that definitely played into it a little bit. But Cejudo definitely proved himself in that 135-pound fight, but it was against arguably the number 4 guy who was fighting for the belt. You know, like he's got to take out TJ at 135. He's got to take out Cody. He's got to take out Dominic Cruz.
I think he's scarier at 35 fighting TJ.
I think so too.
TJ because
and I'm not saying he's not gonna beat TJ at 135. You just have to see it to know for sure. You can't base Cejudo off that one fight. Yeah.
But I think watching.
But he did beat Mighty Mouse too. So you never like.
Well, and watching his fight against TJ at 25, he ragdolled him.
Yeah.
Like just ragdolled him.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even fair, dude.
Cejudo's a beast.
Yeah.
And he kind of does himself a disservice by being kind of like nerdy.
Yeah.
But cool, be yourself. But people don't take
That's
him
Mighty
seriously.
Mouse. He was nerdy. Yeah. He is nerdy.
But people don't take Cejudo seriously, which I think almost plays to his favor.
Yeah.
For the fights, but like marketing wise, it's kind of, I mean, he embraces it too. It's cringe Cejudo, you know. But it's an interesting thing. He has to fight more.
I think I think
especially because he hasn't been on anyone else's map until he really fought Mighty Mouse.
Yeah,
at least like for the casual fan, like
right.
I didn't really know who he was till he fought Mighty Mouse, and I follow this stuff somewhat regularly.
Yeah. Well, I think like he fights Cody. I mean, I don't even think that's a fight. I think Cody handles himself better than TJ did because
Cody's got to fight smarter than he has.
I think Cejudo handles Cody because he's kind of a one-dimensional guy. The crazy thing to me is
Cody's a pretty good wrestler. He's an Ohio State wrestler.
The crazy thing to me too is
they're actually really similar, Cody and Cejudo.
I don't even think it's fair though. I don't think.
I mean, okay, so Cejudo's a gold medal wrestler. Cody's a Ohio State wrestler. Cejudo's obviously better.
Yeah.
But Cody's wrestling is there.
Yeah.
Cejudo's he's a Golden Glove boxer.
Yeah.
Cejudo's kind of Cejudo's a Golden Glove boxer. Cody's kind of just a stand there and bang.
Yeah.
But if Cody catches him, you never know. Like
he's a one shot lights out guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Cody going through these losses, hopefully he's learning to be a little bit smarter of a fighter.
Yeah, and I think I thought that going into the TJ fight, where I thought he was going to be smarter, and then he got to that point where he was like, all right, I just got to bang, because now I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And now I'm just going to stand there and bang.
He kind of like gave up, and that's what he's done in his last couple fights too, where these guys kind of know how to draw him out and be like, I'm going to stand here and punch you. And if Cody doesn't land right away, he gets angry and then starts going to town. And
he stands flat-footed and just starts swinging. I think you mentioned it. One of the fights to make is Cejudo Cruz.
Yeah.
That would be an
do you think Cruz
fight.
come back though? He hasn't fought in so long.
I don't know. Can't say I'm announcing, so he should do something else.
Yeah, he's good. He's good at breaking it down. He just talks too much.
He's the Joe Buck. He's the Joe Buck of announcing.
Yeah.
It's just, and he knows a lot, but if there's a difference.
He knows too much.
There's a difference between Joe Buck and Tony Romo. Tony Romo knows a shit ton, and I didn't like him to begin with, but now I kind of like him.
Yeah.
Because now he his first year tough to listen. Tony Romo's tough to listen.
But he's talking it from the player's perspective. Whereas Cruz does that, but he does it on such a technical level that you. Some of it I appreciate because it's good to like learn what they're doing and why they're doing it. Yeah. But some of it's just too much, especially when you got Rogan and DC on the same thing. Like I want to hear those two talk.
Well, they're good together.
And that's what Anik is really good at. And what Mike Goldborg, when he was around, he was really good at letting Joe and whoever else was doing it talk, and then just interjecting with what they need to interject with.
Yep. I would 100% agree with that because I think the two best together are Joe and DC.
Yeah.
I mean, they know how to
100%.
play off each
100%.
other. Yep. And
They're
think,
so much fun.
Yeah.
And Joe relaxes DC a little bit.
Yep.
DC,
Gets amped.
the last couple broadcasts I've watched when DC has been commentating, Joe hasn't. Last night, Stylebender Whitaker, and then the other night, I don't remember. Wasn't that memorable? I think it was the last cowboy fight or something.
Yeah. He has to talk too much.
And he gets kind of negative, and it almost feels like he's kind of bored. Where like Joe kind of brings out the life in him. Without Joe, he's too kind of like ESPN-y. Joe brings it, makes it more of a party, makes it more fun.
Yep.
I think the future though, Joe's gonna quit the UFC, and they're just gonna do fight companions for all the big fights, and that. I'd rather do that. Like I have the fight companion saved to rewatch the Dustin Poirier Khabib fight and watch the fight companion along with it.
That'd be so
because they're so much fun. The wife and I did that one night when it was like just a ESPN Plus card. Turn it on and there was fight companion on. She even liked it. She's like, this is like entertaining because and then you get to the main fights and maybe you turn on the real broadcast, but all the prelim stuff, you're watching the fights still, which is good because you get to know new fighters. They're commentating a little bit, but then you're more entertained. It's not all about the fights. They're talking about conspiracies and drinking and smoking and.
Well, I like listening to Joe too when whether he's there or the fight companions, because he gets jacked up. Like when something, like I like listening, he's got a good voice to where he starts to get amped. It's like listening to a good football game where you hear the hometown announcer and they just start
It's like
going.
a Paul Allen type deal on the radio.
Yep. And it gets you jacked. Yeah, I like that. Well, and I think Joe too, in the midst of knowing a lot, still like provokes questions
because he's the best at that. I mean, that's his whole podcast. But even especially in mixed martial arts, he doesn't know a lot about wrestling. He doesn't know a ton about boxing. He knows a little bit, but he's never done it. He knows a shitload about kickboxing. He knows a shitload about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But everything else, he relies on other people, and he wants to get better and know more. And he knows he's gonna ask DC about the wrestling. He's ask Dominic Cruz about the striking. He's not going to sit there and talk out his ass.
Well, and I think the thing that helps Joe, like, on his podcast, he doesn't talk over people. He lets people talk, and then he's like, okay, I know they're done talking. Now I'm going to ask.
He gets so frustrated when people talk over him, too. It's so annoying. And I don't think he even gets annoyed, like, I think he gets somewhat annoyed conversationally, because he's like, let me finish what I'm saying. But even more annoyed, like, just production-wise. It's like, it's just a horrible experience for listeners.
Well, and I think, and I think the Fighter and the Kid's gotten good at this too, is like they don't talk over each other.
Yeah.
Whereas I think they used to talk over each other a little bit, or like they had a thought in their mind, and then they were like, okay, I got to say something. Whereas now, like Joe does, they're good at just letting the conversation flow and then jumping in.
Yeah, I agree. We need a producer. We should hire him from interns.com.
We don't need to hire him. He already works for us.
True.
He just doesn't know it yet.
That's true.
Isn't that crazy? All the interns that just don't know it yet, that they're going to be the first level of interns.com.
All these lazy Gen Xers or whatever that are like, oh, we don't need internships. We're just gonna protest and make money somehow. No,
you imagine?
You're gonna be interns, and then you're gonna get real jobs.
Can you imagine going to school and getting a job where you're like, I don't know how I'm gonna make money after school, spending that much money and saying, oh yeah, this job isn't gonna make me money so I can pay back my loans. I just plan on never paying.
It'd be hard. College sucks, dude.
It's
so stupid you have to pay for it. And it's a mandatory.
Never paying it, dude.
It's like this a mandatory thing that you have to pay for to try to succeed in life. And it really doesn't benefit you in succeeding in life other than you're checking that box to say that, hey, I checked this box, so I'm eligible to succeed in life. It's so stupid.
This time now more than ever, people can succeed without having a college degree.
100%.
Now more than ever.
Yep, 100%. And that's all due to technology. Everyone has their own platform. You don't have to work for someone to have a platform. You can start an Instagram account tomorrow, and you have a platform. You just have to build it, and that's hard, but you can do it.
But then here's my question: the people who become really proficient and good at doing that, do those people then have to start going to school for that? You
Like
get what I'm
once
saying?
once they're successful.
No. So
Oh, once it becomes like a thing.
yeah, so now
Probably.
right? You start going to school for being a
But if people are smart, they're gonna be like, well, no, all these people did it without it. Like, I'm just gonna watch their YouTube videos and figure out how to do it on my own. I'm obsessed with like graphic design and drawing. I suck at art. I suck at drawing. I'm decent at design. I know how to lay things out and how to kind of organize things and make it look decent. But like, I'm not good at art. Like I can't draw shit.
Right.
But I love learning and like watching tutorials on art and graphic design, and that makes you better. Like that's part of what we're doing with this podcast is like I want to learn how to design so we can make cool t-shirts and stuff. Like you don't have to go to school to do stuff anymore. There's tons of free education that people have just put out there that are actually doing it. They're not people that went to school to learn how to do it and then are teaching people how to do it and have never actually done it. Like a lot of academia is just like people that never left academia. So you're getting all this like group thought where they've never been in the real world in real life situations. I'd rather learn from people that have been in real life situations how to do it. That was my hardest thing in college was I don't know how I'm going to apply this to anything. I would have benefited so much more by going and working for 2, 3, 4 years and then going back to school and learn how to do my job better. Versus just learning all this abstract stuff and then trying to tie it together 2 years down the road when you actually have like a legitimate job.
I think some of the best people that I learned from were like the adjunct professors who were working, and then they'd come and do a night class, and you're like, oh, okay, they actually apply it. They actually apply it. Yeah, like they're actually applying it.
Yeah, or like even at our high school, our marketing teacher, he had been in the business world for 15 years or so, and then he was like, I want to teach people how to do this. Like that's cool.
That's the best way to do it. I think. I mean, that's the best way to learn how to apply it to real life. 100%. Back to the BMF Belt and fight.
Oh yeah, because this is a sports podcast.
No, I just wanted.
We gotta get back to sports. This is a sports podcast. This episode. I
wanted to go back to it because I think it would be appropriate after you ask the powers that be if that weekend's gonna happen. I'm gonna make BMF weekend sweatshirts.
Yes.
Crew necks.
Yes.
So we gotta get the powers that be. We gotta get a sweatshirt size, and we're gonna make some. I'm gonna make some sweatshirts.
XL.
Okay. I'm making no.
Double.
I'm gonna get an X.
Double
I'm probably
X.
gonna from the sweatshirt set on the back. Yep. And they're gonna be sponsored. You need to come up with a thing so I can put it on there.
Okay.
For the turkey.
All right. I'll design it.
Okay.
Tonight.
Okay.
I actually have a job now, so I can't do stuff during work as much.
You just gotta send it to me, and then I'm gonna make them.
Sounds good. Wife actually has all the design stuff on her computer, so I'll do it legit.
Perfect.
Because with her new job, she has like Adobe and all that shit.
Yeah.
So I can actually make like a quality graphic versus like in PowerPoint. It looks good on the screen, but it's not. It's hard to scale on a t-shirt.
Yeah, you gotta send them to me because I'm gonna have to get them made.
Okay. Play around with it a little bit tonight, maybe.
Can't wait.
Yeah. I'll talk to the powers that be this week too. I gotta figure out dog sitting now over that party, so I gotta figure out what to do with that dog over Halloween.
He can't just hang here.
Well, if we can get back here, yes, but I'm not planning being able to get back here. Because it's Halloween and I always black out on Halloween.
What about just bringing him there?
I gotta talk to a little bitch about that.
Because there's gonna be 2 other dogs there.
Yeah.
Does he hang well with other dogs?
He does, but I don't want him in the house because he'll piss on everything because they're both male dogs. He's gonna go crazy and piss on everything. So I'm thinking maybe just bring a kennel.
Yeah.
And
crate him in the garage.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll stay there. I don't know.
Well, I wish it sucks because getting there isn't a problem.
Yeah.
It's getting home because there's Ubers don't go out there.
No.
So we could just all figure out how to get back here, but I'm not going to be okay to drive.
I plan on probably being okay to drive, so then we'll just go. We'll go, and then we'll go back home because I want to pack all my stuff. Okay. And then meet you back over here the next morning.
Would you guys drop us off here then?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Then maybe that's the easiest answer then.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
don't plan on staying over there.
Okay. Yeah, I was banking on staying over there, but now with the dog, we can't. So.
Yeah.
So
maybe we would do that. And we'll
Okay.
just ride together, and then we'll come back here. We'll all just meet up here. We'll go out there together, or yeah, we'll all go out there together, and then
Yeah.
come back here, and then we'll go back home to pack my stuff up.
I have to get supplies for that weekend.
Yeah, I have some supplies, but I mean, you
We-
can never have too much.
I need to get more.
You can never have too much.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
That's a scary thing. Is like I go on like Amazon and stuff, and I'm like, I could buy it. I don't necessarily need it, but I could buy this because I know I will need it eventually.
Oh, see, I was talking about real supplies.
Like a jacket and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but same difference.
Yeah. I'll for sure get a hat probably for the weekend.
I'll for sure get a sweatshirt and 2 others.
I gotta figure out how to get those furry turkey hats made from that company.
Mm-hmm.
If we need to order in bulk or what. And maybe we just. Wait, I gotta look into the Lake of the Woods trip too, because we should make some hats or sweatshirts for that. Just
Yeah.
give them to everyone.
Yeah.
We gotta lock that down.
Yeah, I mean that's like you got it 6 months in advance.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what we're doing.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
We got to start talking about weekends now,
Mhm.
and then try to book a place 6 months in advance, probably.
Yeah.
And really, like, planning far in advance isn't an issue for a lot of guys. It's just locking down an old bitch if he wants to come. Which I wouldn't. I think he'd be a good person to have because he's actually done it before. And then we'll get a bunch of guys that like haven't done it a ton. Like Jordan, I think will be down. Brandon's down.
Yep.
If you got to think about what people you want to invite.
Yeah. Or you maybe get DP to do it.
Yeah, some of your duck hunting guys.
Yeah. The only thing is some of those guys don't. Like the guy that we're gonna go duck hunting with maybe he'd be down.
Okay.
He drinks and stuff.
Yeah.
So he'd be down. Yeah. You just gotta find people that are down for all that stuff.
One, even if they're not down, they don't have to do it, but they gotta be okay with it. You know? They gotta hang
Yeah. Dude, my forearms
for moving.
are I don't know why.
My hips hurt. My old decrepit body. This last bit of cigar hit me real hard.
These are delicious.
Yeah, they're awesome. Thank you for grabbing those.
Yeah, they're some of the best cigars. These and the Four Kicks, my favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite.
100%.
It's really easy to grab the side of that thing, isn't it?
Suction on.
Yeah. Good idea to bring that bad boy out here.
Need ice. Need to clink.
I think
Clinking and slurping.
I think the worst thing about moving into the new place, no ice maker,
That's rough.
and we don't have enough room in the freezer to put ice. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's hard. I got a piss, so I'm gonna pause this for you. All right, the pee was good, much needed. I have a bladder of a 12-year-old.
Filipino boy.
Yeah, you're lucky of just the metabolism part. I have the bladder part, and it's not as much fun.
Guess what we did this morning? I went and got a coffee frappuccino.
Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
Well, and I had cookies before that, just because I wanted to make sure I got my sugar intake for the day.
You're gonna die so young. Your body's just gonna give up on you eventually. It's gonna be like, hey, we've given you like 25 years of a grace period, and now you're dead. All the sugar's caught up to you.
I was thinking about it today. It's kind of embarrassing, like how tired I was after yesterday, and I'm like, you know what? That's not happening anymore. I'm gonna start to I don't know, do like cardio shit for working out and stuff, because I shouldn't have been as tired as I was after doing what we did yesterday.
Yeah, I was tired too, and I actually do cardio, so maybe that's saying something about me too.
I don't know. I gotta change something up.
That's hard though. That's a long day.
I just gotta do it like 3 days a week or something.
Yeah.
Which I do. I mean, like I do the stair stepper and stuff, but that's not cardio. I gotta run for like 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I can't run, so I do the stairs, but I do it high rate.
Yeah.
Turn up to like 10.
Yeah, I do the same
and then I'll
thing.
do like 20 minutes. And my heart's going from that. Like, I don't need much more than that.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I just don't think I'm going enough.
Turn on a YouTube video.
But
Yeah, that's the hard part. It's just like having time, because like if you do it, I've been trying to do it before my workout, because then it's just out of the way.
yeah,
Versus like at the end of it, it's just easier to say no. Like, oh, I already got the lifting part out of it. I want to go home and eat.
yeah.
But dude, yeah, we got to figure out that Lake of the Woods trip, because the wife and I, when we were up in by the North Shore last weekend, we went up to about the Canadian border. So beautiful, dude.
Yeah.
There's like the lakes up there, the trees, like everything. It's so like it's nothing you see down here.
Dude, we used to go up
It's
there
like the Pacific Northwest.
we used to do that when we went up there for hockey. We'd go up to Warroad and Lake of the Woods because we'd play
Yeah.
Lake of the Woods and Warroad.
Did you go to Grand Portage at all?
No, so this is probably the coolest thing that I experienced when like playing hockey. I never got to go play in the state tournament, but like aside from that, dude, we drove in. So we drive in on a bus. We're on a bus together. It's like an 8-hour drive because you're driving all the way up there. And then what we did was we went to Rozo's rink because Rozo would let us practice.
And they're like Hockey Team USA.
Yeah, and we went in there. We went in their actual. So one night we went in like their practice facility, which is like a pole barn basically. It's
Okay.
it's like metal. It's cold. And then we went in there
Like Sugar Dads.
And then we went in their actual place, and it's like a barn, and it's awesome.
That's sick.
The rink is like
It's like Field of Dreams type stuff.
yeah, it was like the locker rooms are sunk down. You walk down to the locker rooms, and then the ice is raised up, and then it's like all the way around. It's like a circular dome on it basically, and then there's
What's the circumference on that bad boy?
There's seats up like five up or 5 seat levels tall, and it's all the way around the whole rink. It's all wood. It was so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that area is just sweet to be in.
We passed by Wolfridge.
Dude,
I think that'd be a fun couples trip.
that would be fun.
Be blast.
Stay at Wolfridge.
Have we talked about that on the podcast before? I feel like we did.
We've talked about this Lake of the Woods thing, but we've
Yeah.
never talked about Wolfridge would be fun.
So in was that 5th grade, 4th grade? Our school
we went
brought,
up there in the winter.
yeah, our school brought us to no, it wasn't winter. It was like fall.
I've been up there in the winter.
Really?
Yes.
It was fall because we weren't wearing like snow pants because we had to do like it's this like learning education center up like way up north, and you just learn like how to orienteer, like use a compass, and there's a rope climbing course and a bunch of they have these rock climbing walls that aren't like the little colorful like screwed in rocks. They're like actual rock like fake rocks, like formations modeled off of like exact replicas from cliffs in the North Shore. So you're like climbing on actual like things, which is really cool, versus like the just like kind of patty cake, like here's like an orange thing that you're grabbing onto and you're grabbing on a purple thing. And then just like a bunch of team building exercises, and you'd sleep in a little dorm room, and that'd be such a fun couples trip. Just go and like you just got to figure out how to have a bonfire and like get some booze in there, because I don't think it's like a booze friendly place.
Yeah.
But that doesn't stop us.
You could even do that at Lutzen. Don't they have some of that stuff up there too?
Yeah, you could do all that stuff there, but and it's right down the road from Lutzen. It's super close.
Yeah.
But it'd be fun to like go do that rope climbing course and like maybe you can just go there for the day and do some of that stuff. Then you stay in Lutzen and
Yeah. That's probably what you'd have to
yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be fun. Yeah,
do. I know.
That'd be
I'm trying
a
to think.
blast.
I'm
gonna do a ropes course.
my boss and his wife go up to Lutzen every year, same time with a couple, with like a group of people, and they go stay in one of those condos or townhouses in Lutzen, and they just do that for the whole weekend.
Yeah,
It's like perfect.
yeah, that's what we did last weekend, and that was really fun.
Yeah. For a couples trip, that would be fun. Really fun.
You just do some hikes. Hiking's so relaxing. It was so peaceful just to be like out in nature. You turn your phone off because it doesn't work anyways, and
Yeah, like
You
we
just,
did
like-
that in Taylor's Falls.
you just like talk. Like you end up. It's kind of like having this podcast. Like you just like it's a forced conversation almost in the best way possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Taylor's Falls, the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun.
It's like there's so much of that stuff around here. Like, there's no reason that you can't just do that year round. You don't have to do like a big weekend trip for it.
Yeah.
Even just like you've been down to Red Wing before to do some of that stuff. That's fun. It's like, just get out there.
Yeah.
So many weekends you just wake up and you're like, go to the gym, run errands, do this. It's like,
Yeah.
you can still do all that, but then just go do something fun too.
Set up something in the morning too. Like if we go duck hunting, it's like
Yeah.
early morning. We're gonna be done by 10:30, and then you're like, all right, let's go grab something to eat and then go home.
Yeah, like I slept till 11 today, so I'd still have like a full day.
Yeah. Like we got done, stopped at McDonald's. We were home by 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we stop at Chick-fil-A instead of McDonald's though? Because that was bomb yesterday.
Huh?
Can we stop at Chick-fil-A instead of McDonald's? That was so
They don't-
tasty
They
yesterday.
don't have a Chick-fil-A up there. Up in that area.
There's one close by here. Just swing in on our way home. Grab a number one.
Grab some of their breakfast if we make it early enough.
Ooh.
Their breakfast is
Dude.
fire.
Maybe we do that on BMF weekend on our way up.
Yeah. Stop at Maple Grove.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or stop at Portillo's.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had Portillo's?
No.
Oh.
That's the best reaction ever.
Change your life. Change your life.
Yeah.
So good. I got so last weekend we went there. I got two things less than what I'd get when I lived in Chicago. So what I would normally get in Chicago was a cheeseburger with everything on it, a jumbo dog with everything on it, a regular dog with everything on it, a small fry, and a cake shake. And
You
I
have
got
3 dogs?
2 dogs.
2 dogs and a sandwich?
2 dogs and a sandwich and fries and a shake.
Oh my god.
This last weekend, I got a jumbo dog with everything on it. You have to get everything on it.
Yeah.
Like a normal Chicago.
Everywhere I go, I get everything on it.
Chicago-
Doesn't matter what it is.
Chicago dog, and then so I got a jumbo dog, a cheeseburger, and a cake shake. And it was, I mean, heaven.
Yeah.
It's like heaven on earth.
That sounds amazing. I didn't know they did hot dogs.
Oh yeah, and then you can do their Italian beef dipped. So you can get the whole sandwich dipped. So it's
Those
like
nice, juicy beef curtains
so good.
dripping off a hogue.
And then you don't gotta worry about dipping in the stupid hot sauce. It's already
Yeah,
dipped.
another juice.
The bun's already soggy. Oh, so
Soggy buns. Should be like a workout DVD. Soggy
I'm
buns.
smoking this bad boy down to the nubby.
Yeah, I should probably pick it back up. Sunday fun day after all.
This is so good. This is the one cigar I've had that doesn't really burn your tongue when you get down to the end. It's really good because they're packed them so tight.
Yeah.
Sucking in that butane.
Nothing better than a little butte on the Sunday fun day.
This is what I look forward to when I go down to Texas. Just sipping on some whiskey with the old man and smoking a cigar. Does your dad smoke cigars? Or not really?
No.
No.
He's just a beer guy, you know?
Just a beer guy. Just a classic beer guy.
Swallowed some tobacco. That's gonna feel good.
I'm watching you pick that thing apart. It's bugging me.
Does that mean I win today? Because that's the first time either one of us have been
No,
really
I'm not
pissed
mad.
off.
I'm
You're
not
not mad?
mad. No,
You're too
it's just-
tired to be mad?
It's just bugging me, yeah. Does it look like I'm tired? Because when I look at myself in the mirror today, I said, wow, you look
I just know what you're going through.
You look rough.
Moving and
You look rough.
yeah,
Eyes
Just-
are black.
just a bit busy couple of weeks for you here.
It's life.
Yep. Should we flip a coin?
No. Can't do that to myself. Because I'd probably stick to it.
If you had to trust anyone with a life decision, you just had to, whatever they said, you had to do what they said. Who would it be?
With a life decision?
Yeah, like your life decision.
Right now.
Yeah.
The one I'm going through?
No, just like this or like any other like big decision in your life. Like do you have one person you would trust to like, even if it's not necessarily what you would do, you'd agree with it because you trust their opinion on it. and they would just make your life decisions for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Who?
My dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't.
Have you talked to him about this?
No. But I don't. Like growing up, I didn't like listen to him wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
But it was like I analyzed what he would say about things, and I'm like, yeah, no, I can understand why that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's hard to argue with. It's hard to argue with someone who's had success in certain aspects that you're asking about. I think in general, just a general life decision, yeah, I would still do the same thing. But in that realm,
Yeah.
in like a business sense, yeah, 100%. It's hard to argue with someone who's been successful doing that, right? Then you're like, okay, well, yeah, I can see how that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I can justify why I'd make that decision, or understand why they would say that that's the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
Who would yours be?
I don't know. I don't know if I really have anyone. I really like making up my own mind. I'd be like,
I do too, but
my dad would definitely be like probably my number one, or wife. Like,
I think I think the major thing for me is it's not. There's a certain aspect to those decisions where it can't be emotional.
Yeah.
It's a straight transaction. This is what's on the table. This is on the table what I currently have. This is what's on the table future.
mm-hmm.
Make a decision, no emotions attached.
Yeah.
And I think
I have
that's
a really
the
hard time
biggest thing.
taking emotions out of it.
Yeah, and that's my thing is like, especially moving back here, there was no emotion. Zero. There was zero emotion for me because I only involved the person who I knew was going to give me a straight up yes or no, this sounds like a good idea or it doesn't, which is my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, if I involve other people, it's then going to become an emotional decision, which I can't do.
Mm-hmm.
In that situation, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where you have to get to when you're asking those types of questions, life-altering questions, is it's a transaction at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I try to view a lot of things, is you stay more level and you end up, I would say 8 times out of 10, you end up making the best decision when you remove emotion out of it, because the emotion's going to follow.
Yeah.
Once you make the right transactional decision, the correct emotions will follow.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. That's a great way to look at it.
I don't know. It's hard to get there though, because if it's involving other people or it impacts other people,
Yeah.
it's hard to not make it emotional.
Yeah.
Very hard.
Yeah, and I put people ahead of myself a lot, so it's like that impacts my decisions a lot.
Yeah.
Which is something I'm trying to not do as much.
Yeah. Because I think it keeps things more level.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, you're never the best. I mean, some of the best training I ever got, playing football was it's never as bad as it seems, and it's never as good as it seems. It's never get too high, never get too low.
Yeah.
Just it's always even keel.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to do that.
Yeah, ride the waves.
Yeah.
But it is the best way to go through life, because and I even think
Life's a cycle.
like it's okay to get like high on the highs, but the higher you get, you have to balance out the lows too.
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to handle the lows. Like if you're one that gets super high on the highs, you got to be able to handle the lows. Whereas sometimes it's easier to stay more even keel, where you get a little bit high, a little bit low, but you're pretty balanced.
Because you can crash on the lows. If you're one of those people that rides the wave hard, you can really crash on the lows and never get out of there.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part. You can never get out.
Yeah.
And then what do you do?
Yeah.
And I mean that's life in this sentence. Is it's highs and lows, and how do you balance those out? And what do you? I think that's the big thing, is what do you grab onto? Not the decision you made, but do you grab onto something, or do you focus on something that is mutually exclusive? Or do you anchor yourself to something that's mutually exclusive to the decision you made?
Yeah. You know what I was thinking about last night on my way home from your place, actually? So we were talking about, like, we have friends that, like, value stuff a lot. Like, they accumulate a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And they, and I think, like, we've had friends that get successful, like, early on in life, and they almost get that like feeling of like superiority and like they're above you and better than you because they're in like a different spot of life, whether it's
Or some of that.
and take financials out of it. It's just like people that are getting married and then people that are not even in a relationship, or people that have bought a house, or people that are just renting an apartment or own a townhouse or renting a townhouse or whatever, like, and people like kind of like segregate themselves based on that, even within friend groups, and you see friend groups shift in that. And I was thinking like, why? Like, none of that fucking matters. At the end of the day, we're all gonna end up in the same place, and that's just dead. Like, when you die, none of that shit matters.
Can't bring it with you.
Why would you put yourself above someone else because you are in a different place of life, whether it's financially or I'm married and have kids, and you're just married, or you're not married at all, or you have a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. It's like, you can't. It doesn't matter where you're at in life. If you like the person, you should spend time with them, because at the end of the day, when you die, you die. That's it. You're leaving everything behind. No matter, like, regardless of what you believe, what happens after you die, everything on earth is left behind. It doesn't matter what car you drive, what type of house you own, like how many awards you got. It's how people remember you, and like, you want to have those close relationships, I feel like. And I don't think you get people in your group that just like don't feel that way, and it's sad.
And I think too, well, it's a more, I think, in my opinion, it's a more mature way of looking at life, as you can acquire as much as you want, but understanding that it's all just stuff. I mean, it's all just stuff at the end of the day. And like, don't get me wrong, and like, people have said this about me too, is like, don't get me wrong, like, I like nice stuff.
I like having stuff
but
too.
I'm not better than anybody just because I have that stuff. It's just crap. Like, moving into this new place, it's just like, no, it's less than what we had before, but I'm content. I'm content no matter what. As long as I like it, I don't care if anybody else likes it. It's mine. I don't give a shit.
Well, it's stuff. Like, I like stuff too, and some stuff makes me happy. Some stuff you have to buy. Some stuff you just want because you think it's cool, and that's cool. But like you said, because you have it doesn't make you different than anyone else. It's just like, and I think that's kind of what we were touching on yesterday, where people are like in different places of their life, and if you're if you're in a quote unquote like lower place in life than your friends and what you're seeing on social media, it's probably easy to feel like shit about that. But what I don't understand is how people can feel like better than someone else.
I
mean, I guess I do understand it to some extent, because it's because I just get it, but it's just so dumb when people like make life choices or decide who to hang out with and who not to hang out with based on that.
And based on what other people are going to think of you. And I think, regardless of like, because I'm introspective. I like to think about like how I come across. And I think there's a certain part of everybody, when you start to get stuff, you're like, okay, like, am I better than other people? And then once you start to analyze it, you're like, no, it doesn't make me better than anybody. It's just cool. It's just cool. And I want to share it with people.
That's the key.
I want to share.
It's one thing to have things to like for yourself. But if you have things to like share with other people too, like, that's a lot of stuff that I try to get. Is like, how can I like? I want to get this because it'll be fun for us to enjoy together. So, like, I get very few things that are like just for me to enjoy. Like, I still do that. Like, I buy clothes that I like, or
I get tattoos.
Stuff,
like,
tattoos. Stuff that I like. Like, I'm definitely not saying that I'm like above that, but it's just like I don't understand why people are just like that. Like, where they don't have any of the other elements to it. Where it's like, oh, this would be fun because I want to share it with everyone else, not just because I want it and want to show people that I have it.
Well, I think the thing too is like, I think the big shift too is when you stop getting stuff to you get stuff and then you're like, oh, I want this because I want to show it to other people and I want to share with other people. And then there's a big shift between that and then when you're like, I want these people who I care about to have the same thing.
Yeah.
You're sharing it because not only do you have it and you want to share it, but then from there you want them to have the same thing.
Yeah.
Like you want other people to get there. And you wholeheartedly want people to get there. It's not a fake like, oh yeah, like I want you to have this thing or I want you to be able to do that. No, it's like, no, I genuinely in my heart want you to get there.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge shift once your heart changes. And sometimes it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes that doesn't happen. It's like, well, that's not me. I wouldn't do it that way, but it is what it is. There's nothing I can change about that.
Yeah.
Oh, but I don't get it either. I think I was at that point where you start seeing people have success and you're like, man, I wish I had that. And then
I still have that.
And then you get to a certain point where you're like, you know what, I don't really give a shit. Like, it's going to happen when it happens.
Yeah, or, like, I don't, like, I see people, like, get stuff now or posting stuff. It's like, oh, that's cool. Like, I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
I don't really care if I ever get that, though.
No.
You know, like, I don't really want that.
Yeah. And I think it's a difference, too, of I don't really want that. Like, I don't want what they have, and I know that they're showing it off versus... No, I know I just don't need that to be happy. I know I don't need that to be happy, and I'm glad for that.
Yeah.
But I don't need that to be happy.
Oh yeah, if everything was free, I'd have so much stuff.
Yeah.
Like just because it's fun to have stuff.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, obviously like there's financial limitations to it and stuff. But yeah, it's just like there is like more intent behind it. Like, are you getting something because you really want it, and there is stuff that you want and it makes you happy, whether it's a new hat or a video game or a car or whatever.
Yep.
But then there's other stuff that you buy, and I do this too, where it's like, when I buy this for me or I buy this for like someone else, I buy this so that I could like post it on Instagram or something, or like, or so that if, you know, this person comes over, they'll think it's cool and I get validation from that or something.
And I think there's a certain part too where you get to a point where it's not that you don't care what other people, or it's not that you don't give a fuck about other people, but you just don't care what other people think. And you're doing it because you're doing it. And then that's fine. And if other people think it's cool, great. If other people don't think it's cool, great. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter. You just did it because that's something you wanted to do. I think, that's another aspect of it. Yeah. As I think people get older, there are certain people that go one way. I want to have stuff because I want people to think it's cool. And there's a certain part of people that get stuff and they're like, I'm getting it. I want to share it. And I also don't give a fuck if anyone else thinks it's cool.
That's interesting to think about too, is like how much stuff do you actually do that's just for you? Like I do a lot of stuff just because it's like, I feel like that's what I'm supposed to be doing, or other people need me to do it or think I should be doing it. Like I don't do like a ton just for me. I would say like sometimes working out is just for me, but sometimes it's like because I feel like I have to do it. Yeah. Yeah. But like even just like sometimes just going and getting like a burrito or something where it's like this I just want this right now. Like that's so satisfying where it's like this is just for me. Like I'm hungry as shit and I'm craving Chipotle. I just want a burrito and that's just for me.
I think a big thing for me has been the tattoo thing.
Yeah.
Like it's not financially is getting tattoos responsible? No, it's not.
It's stupid.
But I get it. I get them for me.
Yeah.
And I think
I do too, and I've never posted about any of my tattoos or anything. It's just for me.
And the people I post it to are the people most of the time I don't post it. I send it to somebody on Snapchat. I'm like, hey, check this out. Because I know those people actually care and think it's cool. Yeah. And then I get them, not financially responsible, doesn't really add a whole lot of value except for emotional value. Like after I got that, I came home and I was like, granted, when I came home from Chicago, it was just because I was in Chicago and it was fun to hang out there. But like a big thing for me, especially when I lived in Chicago, was like an emotional attachment. Was I went there because I didn't have anything else. I went and started getting tattoos in Chicago frequently because I had nothing else to do. I didn't have many friends, and it was some place for me to hang out. Whereas like, granted, maybe I'm paying a little bit for a friendship. Yeah. But at the same time, I then became friends with the person who started tattooing me.
It's a good way to spend 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, and like I just got to sit there and chill.
Yeah.
And like that's what I wanted because I didn't want to do it by myself, and I like some of that emotional release.
When you wanted the tattoos anyway,
Yeah.
so it was a win-win.
Yeah,
You know?
and I wanted that release.
It's not like you're going having them run a dry needle over your arm just to have a friend.
Yeah, right. So
You're actually getting stuff that you wanted, and
yeah, and
you would have gotten eventually anyway.
yeah, but that's definitely one of those things that I can chalk up as like, I do that for me.
Yeah.
Like that's my emotional connection to doing something that it's bigger than just getting tattoos to get them because they look cool. I got them. I think I got my first couple. That's what I wanted, but I also liked it because it looked cool. Now it's like I have enough. I know that they look cool. Now I'm getting them because it's an emotional attachment for me.
Yeah.
And that's mine. And I'm gonna have those memories or that feeling about it forever.
Yeah.
And that's for nobody else but me.
Yeah. Now that
Like that's why I got my spine tattoo. Like as much, regardless of the meaning, because the meaning is significant. The meaning of the words is significant, but in terms of getting it on my spine is more significant to me.
Yeah.
And there's only a few people that know that, but that's significant to me.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah, I think there's those things that you find that are like that are yours, and you have to find those. Like back to the point, you have to find those things that are for you, that'll make you happy, and it's not stuff related. It's not stuff.
Yeah.
It's just permanent, and it's always etched in your brain.
Yeah.
And like yours too. I think yours too is like an emotional attachment, and it's what's on your arm is an emotional attachment, but that experience is also tied to you now.
Yeah.
That experience of getting tattooed, now after you're done with what you originally wanted, now it's, no, I'm getting tattoos because now I just like getting tattoos.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was just gonna say. Is like now that I have tattoos, I don't understand how people just have one tattoo because it was really addicting to me. And like, granted, I had kind of like I had an idea that we broke into 3 parts. So I was like, I'm gonna get this one tattoo, and I'm gonna get probably 1 or 2 more at least. But as soon as I got that first one, I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing my whole arm and probably the next arm.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just a great experience, and especially when you're doing it. Like all of my tattoos right now are kind of like memorial tattoos for people. You do kind of like it helps the grieving process a little bit.
You can just let it go.
Yeah.
To a certain extent,
Yeah.
like, and you don't know that you can let it go until you're like, all right, I needed to feel pain or not. I needed to feel pain that was exclusive to that moment, not the pain that I felt at that time.
Yeah. And now I probably get like, because that was kind of like a gateway into getting tattoos, I guess. Now I get to like I have the opportunity, since I already have 3 tattoos, I might as well finish my arm.
Yeah.
Where it's like I get to do the tattoos that I probably would have wanted to do, but just never had the guts to go out and get them anyway.
Yep.
And now I get to do that because of this.
Yep.
Like it's a cool experience.
Yeah. It's like I think in like decisions that I made, like very big decisions, and I told my buddy in Chicago that I was gonna, ask him a question about something that we were talking about. A big question to me that I have for people, like you were asking, who would you ask if you're making a big decision? Who would I go to if I'm making a big decision about life? Was that decision, if someone had done it before you, my question is, was that a life-changing decision? And if someone says, yeah, I mean, that was a life-altering decision for me, then I'm like, then I have to do it. If that was a life, like getting tattoos, for me, if someone asked me now, like, why'd you get them? Because it's a life-changing thing for me.
Yeah.
And if you have,
It was for me too.
If you have that big of a feeling about what you're gonna get, your first tattoo, I think your first tattoo, if it's a life-changing decision or a huge life meaning, now getting a full sleeve and a bunch of stuff on my legs, life-changing for me.
My wife said the same thing when I got my first one. we both like kind of looked at it, 'cause like I knew I wanted a tattoo, but I didn't know like how I look with a tattoo.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know, I'm kind of a dorky white guy, like,
Right.
but like, my wife and I were both just like, no, it looks like it always should have been there.
Yep.
And like every tattoo I've gotten, I never know what it's gonna look like before I get it, and then as soon as I get it, it's like, no, it should have always been there. Like that's what my arm was supposed to look like.
Yep.
So it's just kind of like, it's crazy to go through that experience.
Yeah, and I've gotten questions too about, especially because some of them that are like more visible, if someone can see like under a long sleeve dress shirt or something like that, and people can see like the first, especially the script, and people, I want people to ask about it. Other ones are a little bit hard to, some of them are harder to answer, or it's a longer story.
Yeah.
But then there's some where you're like, this is something that guides my life.
Yeah. Well, and you talked about my first meeting with like our tattoo guy.
Yeah.
And where he kind of like had me take a step back and was like, no, like I had like a bunch of ideas kind of rolled into one. He's like,
Yeah.
you want that, like the kind of like end thing, which really resonated with me, is like, you want each piece to have its own standalone meaning. And what I had was like one piece that had 20 different meanings. And I get, as soon as I got my first tattoo, I got that, especially when I got my second one, because people ask you about it. It's like,
Yeah.
you want to just be like, oh, this one is for like because of this, and this one's for this, and this one's because of this, and like
Yep.
you don't want to be like, well, this one's because of this, and well, then this happened, and because of this, I had this, and that, you know,
Yeah.
like all, like it's just too much. You want each one to have like a simplified meaning.
You don't want to have life, what I always think is you don't want to have life changes on your arm. You want to have things that impacted your life on your arm.
Yeah,
Life changes happen all the time.
yeah,
But things that happen to you during your life, and you want to memorial, like, I think the coolest thing that he said to you when we were sitting there, and then I was like, I looked at Lady and I was like, let's go. I was like, this is where they need to have their time to talk about it based on what his initial response was you needed to get out what you actually wanted, and his guidance was, you don't want to drown out the meaning of one of them with all of them being combined.
yeah,
You want each one of them to have their own meaning.
Yeah.
Even if they're all part of one big tattoo, you want all of them to mean something.
yeah,
Which is crazy. It's crazy that someone that you know for 5 minutes knows that.
yeah,
Or can say that because they have enough experience.
yeah.
where-
That's what makes him so great.
yeah. It's like that's what makes it life changing
Yeah.
in terms of that type of decision. So if anyone asks me, from now on it's because it changed my life, and here's why. If someone cares, then I'll tell them. If no one cares, whatever.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that's episode number 9. Went from sports to real deep.
It went from sports to real deep.
Guess that's what happens when you escalate the whiskey and
And-
cigars throughout the
we
podcast.
talked about a lot of stuff yesterday, so
Yeah.
we did a good amount.
Yeah.
We could have done a podcast yesterday too.
Yeah.
We easily could have done a podcast.
We'll do one out on your deck. Smoke a stogie out there, and
Sit on the old zero gravities.
I'm gonna fall asleep if we do that.
That's why I locked mine like sitting up, because I was like, if I lay like flat, like how you can lay all the way back.
Yeah.
I'll fall
I was
asleep.
so relaxed. It felt so
They're
good.
so awesome.
Yeah.
And they're like you're saying, they're heavy duty.
Yeah.
They're for the big boys.
Oh yeah, big boys. All right, episode 9 in the books. You had to be there. Furryturkey.com. We're gonna be streaming. Probably already are by the time we release these, but
Yep.
Furry Turkey YouTube, Furry Turkey Instagram. Thanks. Any last words, dude?
That's it.
Nah, you bitch.